I want to tell you that I have a huge respect for Albert Einstein for his tremendous works in theoretical physics and his great intuitions, his visions. However, at the same time, I have disagreement with him also. When he developed his theories, he completely followed or believed the result of the Michelson-Morley experiment. Michelson-Morley, they devised a setup, an interferometer instrument to detect the relative motion between Earth and ether. But they failed to detect any of such ether wind. They measured the speed of light perpendicular directions, but they couldn't find any such difference. They they increased the sensitivity. Later also, after this Michelson-Morley experiment also, scientists devised such kind of experimental setup and repeated the same similar experiments. Still, they couldn't find any such kind of relative motion between Earth and the supposed ether. So, they completely disregarded the idea that there is a space-filling substance. The ether concept is not a new concept. It was a long history. However, my study says that ether is real and there are other ways to detect ether. In fact, an interferometer type experiment or this Michelson-Morley type experiment cannot detect ether, but there are other ways to detect ether, or there are other effects we can the effects are there for the presence of ether. Either there are some process in the nature that releases ether. Mass defect. Every mass defect, whether in a particle accelerator laboratory, in the particle collision experiment, the missing matter is occurred in a particle collision experiment. Nuclear reactions, there is a mass defect in nuclear reactions, nuclear activities, and black hole collisions, neutron star collisions. These all events creates mass defects. According to Einstein's special theory of relativity, mass defect is directly converted into pure energy. However, when we see closely how a mass defect release energy, let's think about how a mass defect generate energy. We'll see a nuclear fission reaction or a fusion reaction. In a fission reaction, for example, energy appears as the speed of particles, the product particles. We see that when a mass defect happens, the energy released in the form of particles, these product particles moving very high speed. So the mass defect release energy as the motion of the product particles. Something is pushing the particles, something is shooting particles all the sides. That means something exploding, some kind of explosion is happening there. Just like how a shell explode, for example. A grenade shell, when it explodes, it shoot the small fragments every side. Just like that, when a mass defect happens, the fragments or particles sprays in a very high speed in every directions. This clearly shows that something is exploding in this kind of thing. That's the fact we are seeing. Therefore, I believe that the missing matter explode, and this explosion gives the product particles its kinetic energy. Therefore, the missing matter is converted into a thin form of matter, a super thin form of matter, because the rate of explosion or expansion is so huge. Probably a gram of matter can be converted into a cubic kilometer volume of the super thin form of matter in a millionth of a second. It can explain how the particles, the product particles in a nuclear reaction gets their kinetic energy. If that is the case, then every mass defect, whether in a particle collider experiment, particle collision experiment, or in a nuclear reaction or nuclear explosion, or a stellar collision, black hole collision, neutron star collision, whenever a mass defect happens, this mass defect is converted into a super thin form of matter. Therefore, if that is the case, all active stars in the universe or events, kind of collision events, creates or generates this kind of matter to space. Therefore, this matter is spread across the universe. So, the ancient belief that there is a space-filling substance is real. There are so many evidences, so many phenomena which supports the presence of this super thin matter. Since ancient long back, they named this space-filling substance as ether. I would like to call the same name, ether. So ether is real, and this ether can explain many of the phenomena which are predicted or explained by relativity. We can find better alternative explanations for all phenomena which are explained or predicted by theory of relativity by just adding this space-filling substance into the picture. This is the reality. In the coming videos, we will talk about all this. I am not an English speaker. My native language is something different. So kindly pardon me if you find any pronunciation mistakes or grammatical errors. Thank you for watching. I am Joseph George. See you in the next video.